Alright, today's my take on is about trying to force people to convert to God. And unlike some of our situation right now, politically, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But anyway, I'm saying it's in any way, shape, or form, forced conversion is not the way to go. Forcing people to obey God's rules is not the way to go. People have to serve God out of love and respect, not fear all the time of being destroyed or something by somebody else if they don't follow somebody else's demands. Anyway, I was looking up New Testament verses in order to try to prove this. But I got a whole list of verses in a case where they have the Old Testament included, not very much, but I will read to you what I've found. The first example is from encouragingbibleverses.org. The link starts out https://encouragingbibleverses.org, and those words are all one word before the .org. And the next part of it after the slash is Bible/verses/about/killing/not/believers. Alright, it's this here right now. This one only seems to include Exodus 12:13, thou shalt not kill. And then there's a few more listings, mostly from the New Testament, and that is Matthew 5:21. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not kill. Whoever shall kill shall be in danger of judgment. Romans 12:19. And whoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. And the next verse is Romans 12:19. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. That's one of those, yeah. And it's not just killing, it means like revenge, things like torturing people or being cruel to them, smearing their name in public to try to convert them to what you believe, and other forms of abuse of non-believers. And it's kind of reflective of what we're coming from right now politically, kind of in the country of the U.S. Well, that should have been left. That ties in with that political thing. Even though I'm not going to say what's going on, you probably can. I'm not going to say what's going on. You probably can guess. There were others. I believe the Bible because the Bible 26:50 said a sword is for all they. All right. The next New Testament verse was 1 John 3:15. Whosoever hateth his brother is a murderer, and ye know that no murderer hath eternal life abiding in him. And the next New Testament verse was Matthew 26:52. Then Jesus said unto him, Pull up thy sword into his place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Here's another Old Testament one. Deuteronomy 5:17, Thou shalt not kill. And back to the New Testament, 2 Corinthians 10:3-4. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. Okay, I'm having trouble editing the next part because I don't know what is going on with the video. It kept jumping around. But anyway, but this should be proof of why we should not do just what we want and take out violence on people, but because we're not supposed to be using warfare as such as letting God do it. So the next one was Ephesians 6:12, For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And I wanted to make a comment that goes with some of the current political environment where they're trying to use their powers to silence people because they're not of the same beliefs, and trying to hold people down, and that's not right. We're not supposed. It's supposed to be, trying to talk to people, not forcing our will on them. And the next one was John 8:44. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And that might be a hint about some of the untruths that are coming out, especially from some of these super Christians who seem to think they know it all, but they don't. And they think that they know what they're supposed to do to other people and hold it against them in more of a political way, and really they shouldn't be. The next one was 1 Peter 3:9, not rendering evil for evil, or railing for railing, but contrariwise blessing, knowing that ye are thereunto called, that ye should inherit a blessing. There's another one about vengeance on other people, which we should not be taking because we're supposed to be leaving it up to God. And the next one goes back to the Old Testament. Proverbs 3:30. Strive not with a man without cause, if he have done thee no harm. Sometimes they're actually doing this in a way that a person didn't cause them harm, and they're just sitting there ridiculing them and causing a fight in the first place that doesn't need to be there. And the last verse was Leviticus 19:18. Thou shalt not avenge, nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord. People, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Here the article is going to mention a couple of quotes. The Bible does explicitly condone killing non-believers. The Bible does not explicitly condone killing non-believers. It emphasizes love, forgiveness, and the spreading of the message of God's love to all people, which is what I'm trying to say. I wanted to say I'm sorry, but this thing, there was something with the website I was reading from that was causing it to skip around. And it'll sound funny after this, but was trying to say that we're not supposed to be doing harmful things to one another. Harmful thing I made to whatever it is that love treats, and that's one reason why I'm sharing this with you. So, it's not our place to judge or harm them, and it emphasizes them to live with and seek affiliation with. Also, the author advises here that some individuals may interpret. Apologies for yet another edit. The quote was supposed to be, Bible teaches that believers should treat non-believers with kindness and respect, and it's not their place to judgment or harm them, and you should live peacefully with others, seek reconciliation rather than violence. Also, the author advises here that some individuals may interpret certain passages in the Old Testament, such as Joshua or Psalms, as justifying violence against non-believers. Still in custom of violence. Okay, I'm going to redo this part, so I thought of it's getting cut out pretty badly, so I'll just go from where I think something about promoting a message of compassion and understanding toward all people regardless of beliefs. And then there was a part that was next that I might have skipped over. There are no specific Bible chapters that explicitly promote or condone killing of non-believers. Jesus' teachings emphasize love, forgiveness, and non-violence towards others. And then I know there's a part of this, there are some individuals interpret certain passages in the Old Testament, such as those in Joshua or Psalms, as justifying violence against non-believers. They're supposed to be understood in their historical and cultural content, and don't use it to justify violence against or hatred toward others. The message of the Bible is love, compassion, and reconciliation. Follow the example of Jesus. Love enemies. Pray for those who persecute. And you shouldn't kill people in the name of God because it's against the core teachings of Christianity. Then there was a short list of concepts related to killing non-believers that they thought were taught or mentioned in the Bible. There was a just war theory. That was something that was in the past where they thought they could justify warring on people who they didn't think believed in God, or that they thought God was on their side, so they were thinking that they were better and that they were doing the right thing, and they probably weren't. So they use examples in the Bible as justification for their actions against non-believers, like against the Canaanites. So some people just use it as an excuse. Then there's divine judgment. Well, it's the concept of God deciding to punish other people, so they kind of assume that it's their job to go kill them. But actually, in the New Testament, we understand that that's left up to God, so we shouldn't be doing that. And the third problem was religious persecution. Religious groups have persecuted non-believers and perhaps killed them. And you're not supposed to do that. You could use some false prophets or idol worship could be used as commands to go do this, and we shouldn't be listening to it. They're not. It's the way it is. And then here's our one persecution. So, I've been saying the Inquisition and some other things. Some churches in history, even the Protestants would go back against the Catholics at times. So it's not just a Catholic thing. But it's happened that groups have persecuted and killed non-believers in the name of their faith. This person, it's not just a Catholic thing. But it's happened that groups have persecuted and killed non-believers in the name of their faith. This person who wrote thinks it's not a good idea either, and neither do I, because you can't spread the love of God by killing everyone. So I'm just trying to go over the important points of this article. I'm not trying to do it word from word, but it's giving me good ideas with the examples there. Okay, I'm just going to reread what the title is of this article, because I had to cut out that portion due to too much skipping. The title was 12 Bible Verses about Killing Non-Believers. And I don't have the author, which I had said before, but if you follow the link when I put it in the end where the credits are, you can pause the video, find the link, copy it. Should be able to see who the author of the article was. I didn't read it word for word, so should be okay. And then anyway, and this is a first Bible Hub guide. If I have another, because I had to type in words I remembered of the exact get it to come up. So anyway, it sent me to a title reference, https //biblehub.com/, then it says /t, and then it has the _ principle _ of _ non-violence, and there it's a little dash between non-violence .h. Yeah. Again, I have to edit it some more content, so we moved on from the other one to the next part, the principle of non-violence, which is found at https://biblehub.com/topical/t/the _ principle _ of _ non-violence.htm. So the topical this is the topical encyclopedia, so it's not all Bible verses. The principle of nonviolence is not explicitly named in the Bible. It'll be discerned through various teachings and examples found in the Bible, and it's about the avoidance of violence, the pursuit of peace, and then reflecting the character and teachings of Jesus Christ. The Old Testament foundations, it lays the groundwork of nonviolence through the law and the prophets. The article mentions you shall not murder, Exodus 20:13, which I think we covered before, and that establishes the sanctity of human life. Then there's also a Proverbs verse which says, do not envy a violent man or choose any of his ways, Proverbs 3:31. There's also one in the prophetic books, Isaiah's vision of a future where swords are beaten into plowshares and nations no longer learn war. Isaiah 2:4. It's supposed to be an envision of God's future where there's no violence and peace is the ultimate thing. That's obviously not happened yet. It must be way in the future that it does. Teachings of Jesus. This one has Matthew 5:9 as an example. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God. And he also instructs him with Matthew 5:44. Alright. He's further instructing his disciples here to love their enemies and pray for the people who persecute them. So they were challenging the norms of the day of retaliation. And then Jesus exemplifies nonviolence with his life. Peter rebukes Peter's drawing of a sword during his arrest. Then the quote is, put your sword back in his place, for all who draw the sword will die by the sword. Which is Matthew 26:52. Shows that Jesus will submit to his own suffering and death, and that it places a value of sacrificial love over violence. Apostolic teachings. Romans 12:17 through 18. The apostles were teaching and modeling nonviolence in the early church. Examples of verses, Romans 12:17 through 18. Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Carefully consider what is right in the eyes of everybody. If it is possible on your part, live at peace with everyone. He also encourages nonviolence by overcoming evil with good in Romans 12:21. Peter also echoes the sentiment and encourages believers to endure suffering for doing good. Following Christ's example, 22:20 through 23. And it seems like there's evidence that they had a commitment of nonviolence because they suffered persecution without fighting back. And then the theological reflections. The principle of nonviolence is deeply rooted in the character of God. He's a God of peace, according to Philippians 4:9. The nonviolent love was expressed in the cross, and Jesus absorbs the violence of the world and offers forgiveness anyway. Nonviolence is not the absence of conflict, but an active pursuit of peace and justice. So it's a faith and commitment to the teachings of Christ, and tries to point believers in a calling of love and peace. And the practical implications. The principle of nonviolence calls for a lifestyle that reflects the peace of Christ. All over the place with people in society. And they have to embody the peace of the gospel in a divisive and violent world. It challenges believers to live out the radical love and peace of Jesus Christ. So it has to trust in God to bring you justice. And that is the end of the article. Okay, so I'm going to have to go to this. Oh wait, first I wanted to make the point is you don't need to force conversion on people. It's better to just be nonviolent and be good to other people and try to get your message across without bullying people into accepting it, unlike some of the people who are on right now trying to force their ideas and their political viewpoint on certain people that they think they should be doing, instead of making it about forgiveness and acceptance. So now I'm going to go on to the last link, which was the one at https BibleHub.com. And the whole link was https://BibleHub.com/Matthew 10-14.htm. And they had many versions of it, and mostly just 14, but I decided to read the part of on the side, which is the Berean Standard Bible version, because it had a context, and it was considered under the ministry of the 12. This is 13 through 15. 13 under the Matthew verse before Matthew 10, I believe. Or the passage of Matthew 10. 13. If the home is worthy, let your peace rest on it. But if it is not, let your peace return to you. And 14. And if anyone will not welcome you or heed your words, shake the dust off your feet when you leave that home or town. 15. Truly I say to you, it will be more bearable for Sodom and Gomorrah on the day of judgment than for that town. So, why I'm emphasizing this is I wanted to look up I just looked this verse up by some of the words, and I wanted to express that part. I'm reading it in the context of them trying to force Christianity on people in the United States. That's why I keep saying political. It's pretty much people trying to force their ideas on somebody else because they think it should be that way because of their national devotion or whatever. And, well, it's really not that way if you read it. So, this is, you have to shake the dust off your feet if they don't accept you. And and you leave the town. You don't keep on harassing the people trying to force them to follow what you want them to follow. And it's just leaving it up to the next person who comes, or if God so chooses, He will put the judgment on them. And that's all I have to say about that. I mean, it does sound depressing in the last verse, but, there has to be judgment sometime for the rejection of God, or what He wants you to do. And I wanted to go on to say that I have 2 more topics that I'm going to have to cover, because these people are really not following it. There's something about equality and women in the Bible. I'll probably have to go back to that part I said or spoke about before, where a man's supposed to take care of a woman, not treat him like crap. We'll find that verse again. And there's also a verse that all are equal in the eyes of God, male or female, slave or free. That one also applies in that matter. And I hope to see you in future versions of my take on. All of the links should be in the credits. You can pause it and go to each one. And hope to see you again next time. Thank you for watching.